It looks good on your end. Farmer Glen, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're again really excited to get this virtual tour of your farm. And I'm gonna just throw it over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your story and how you got into farming.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jeremy. It's a real pleasure to be here. The idea of our food getting into the people that need it most is really motivating for us and all part of why we do this. So I'm really happy to be here and make this connection. Um, so why I started farming, I have three kids, and my youngest is just turned 9 yesterday, actually. And when she was born, it really turned my eyes towards the future and how I was leaving the planet. And I realized that I wasn't happy that I was leaving the planet better than I found it. And so I did a lot of backyard gardening and tried to figure out ways that I could help save the planet. And I realized that I just wasn't doing it on a big enough scale. And my wife thought I was completely nuts, but I decided that I needed to start a small farm. I want to grow food in a sustainable manner. I want to build community around the farm. I want to provide people with nutrient dense food in a way that builds soil and improves the health of the planet. And so that's what we're doing here. I think the world would be a much better place if we had one small farm for every 100 families. And it helps the local economy, it helps the planet, it helps the people, their health, and it helps build community. So I really want to prove this out, and I want to help other young farmers get started in doing what we're doing. So the type of farm that we started 5 years ago. We have a CSA farm, so that's community supported agriculture. So people buy a share of the farm's produce, and we deliver either on a weekly basis or every other week, whatever's in season, and people get a really nice basket with all sorts of things in the basket. This week we have salsa kits, we have kale, we have our gourmet lettuce mix, we have our cantaloupes, which are called Savon melons, which are delicious. It's a great year for melons. And everything will be harvested basically within 24 hours of getting to people's fridges. So it's really nice. The customers are close by. We deliver from Cobourg all the way down into Toronto. Um, and we also do Cobourg Farmers Market. So on Saturday mornings, I take the kids, and it's one of my favorite parts of the week. Is basically selling healthy food to people with the kids, and I really enjoy that, interacting with our customers firsthand. So what you see behind me here is all of our gardens. We have about 105 acres in total, but really all of the food production is coming off of less than 2 acres. You can grow a ton of food in 2 acres using biointensive methods. And we have also these swales that are behind me. So we had a permaculture designer come to the farm. If anyone saw Biggest Little Farm, when I saw that movie, it was similar to what we did, just on a much bigger scale. We had a permaculture designer named Phil Collins came to the farm, and everyone told us that you couldn't farm in this field, which I really wanted to farm in because it's south facing. It's got a nice slope towards the sun. It's really close to my wash and pack station and all the rest of the buildings where we want to take the vegetables. But they said that in the spring it was too wet. So we built these swales, and what they do is they slow and sink the water in the spring when it's melting. So we have this ditch essentially that collects water, and then when it gets full enough, there's a culvert that goes from the first swale to the second swale, and it fills up the next culvert, and then there's 4 swales along the way. And so we're trying to keep the water in the gardens because water equals food. So we're trying to minimize our irrigation needs and bring a lot of life to the soil by having a lot of water in this area. And also at the same time, keep it away from the beds so that we can grow food in them. So they're supposed to be flowering hedgerows, but they also turn into a lot of weeds. But the pollinators really like them. So, I feel bad mowing them. So we kind of keep them around and fight the weeds off on the other side. But we have a lot of different crops here. I'm excited to see what production you guys make out of it, what Jeremy comes up with in terms of recipes and things like that, because we always are interested in seeing people eat real food and make the most of our veggies here. So I'll just show you a few of the crops that we have here. So here behind me, we have the rainbow Swiss chard. So we really take our time making these nice bouquets of all different colored chard, and you get a nice bouquet of rainbow Swiss chard. That's the kale behind me there. We have the sweet corn over here. We have the ground cherries. So if you've never had a ground cherry before, these are a really interesting thing that you can get from market gardeners in Ontario. It comes in Mother Nature's most perfect package. That's what it looks like. And then you pop it out. And if you go to a farmer's market in Ontario right now, you'll probably find a market gardener that's growing those ground cherries. And they're really sweet. People say, oh, they look like a gooseberry, but they're sweeter and they're smaller.
Oh, those are fascinating. And Glenn, sorry to cut you off. So that
Yeah,
is in the same family as I guess like a tomatillo and any of those like caped berries.
exactly. And it's actually in the potato family. So the potato beetles like to eat them, but it's just like a small tomatillo. It's got the little tiny seeds in it. I'll bring you a bag when we meet there. But they're delicious. They're sweet, like more like a grape or something like that. So people love them at farmers market. If you're trying to sell fruits and vegetables to people, it can be difficult at times, but we'll say, hey, have you ever tried a ground cherry? And so that's one way we get people engaged with at the farmers market. So yeah, these are the fields that we have here. You can see over there are our winter squash. So right now we've got big containers of pie pumped, 7 different kinds of winter squash coming out of the fields right now. We also have broccoli, broccolini here. So, and then, you know, when you get a farm, you want to do everything. You get what's called farm fever. So these are all sugar bush maple trees, a whole line on the south side of the farm. So eventually I'd like to do organic maple syrup. But I've learned that it's a lot easier to come up with these ideas and when you only have a small picture of what you actually need to do versus the operationalizing it is much more work. So now I really hold myself back. So yeah, we have basically a lot of different vegetables, 50 different crops here. There's some cherry tomatoes that are outdoor. We also have the big greenhouse, which I'll show you in a second. That's got the indoor cherry tomatoes and slicer tomatoes. So everything we grow here is grown in the soil. So we don't do hydroponic operation or anything like that. But you can see here, basically our slicer tomatoes. So basically this whole place, some of these plants are those ones over there, which have been hit hard by hornworm caterpillars. Jeremy was asking me about some of the challenges. You can see they don't have any leaves left. There's one right now. That's a hornworm caterpillar right there. This is a small one. But basically, we have to go around regularly and kill those guys.
Oh, wow.
Because they're voracious. You can literally hear them eating the plants. They're crunching away. So we basically go through and we collect all those up and try to get them before they eat all the leaves on our plants.
Now, is this just a bad year for them, or it's something you have to deal with all the time?
For whatever reason, it's especially bad year, and it could be that it's just gotten a little bit worse every season. But in previous years, we've only had, you know, small amounts of them. So you can imagine if you leave those guys alone, they can strip a tomato plant pretty quick. So yeah, this year's especially bad, and it's worse for most of the pests this year, possibly because we had a cool, wet spring. So they really enjoyed the wetter conditions in May, and or possibly because we had a dry rest of the year. You know, we're still learning. We're 5 years into market gardening, so there's a lot to learn. But the other thing is that we're growing a lot of really delicious food for them, and they seem to enjoy that. The one that really hammered us this year was the Colorado potato beetle. Uh, that one's interesting because it showed up the day I planted potatoes. You would think that it would take a year or two for them to find us because they can't move very well. But they showed up immediately after I planted potatoes. And every year they've gotten worse. And this year I planted 2,000 feet of potatoes, which would be enough to feed a small army. And we probably got about 200 foot worth of production out of it, which is about, maybe it gave us a little bit of reserve, but mostly we need to hang on to that for seed potatoes for next year. So those guys really killed us because the new potatoes at the farmers market and in CSA bins are super popular, and we do like interesting varieties like red apple potatoes with the thin red flesh and the yellow inside, or ballerina, which is like a buttery yellow potato that's just my kids know all the different varieties of potatoes now that I started market gardening. So it's interesting. You serve them potatoes and they can tell you, oh yeah, that's a ballerina or that's a gourmandine or whatever. So that's been another interesting part about starting farming and seeing the kids engaging with it and stuff like that. So
It's amazing. It's amazing. And so do they get involved in helping out with the farming and
yeah, so the all three of them. I have my oldest just moved into university for his first year of engineering at Queens, and so it's a hard week for us in that sense. But him, and then my 14-year-old, and then my 9-year-old. They always come to farmers market with me, and they're superstar sellers. Like I basically just shuttle things back and forth because they're the stars of the market show. But my oldest one is really helpful in the fields whenever I need them. And then the other two, they don't like the field work as much. Grace was working on some stuff the other day, helping me with sweet potatoes and what have you. But you don't want to force them to do it. You're trying to get them to sort of get inspired and grow a love for it on their own. But they're their own people and stuff like that. So we do have a team here that's an awesome team. And you were asking me before about some of the challenges of small scale farming in Canada, and that's one of the big challenges. Like the first challenge is I didn't realize it was going to be much easier to grow the food than it is to sell the food. So I have to spend most of my time just on sales and marketing and delivering and getting our food to our customers versus spending it in the fields. And I underestimated that big time. I thought, just like me, there was a ton of people out there that would really appreciate the opportunity to get this quality ingredients from someone they trusted. And but people are used to going to the grocery store, and we're competing with Costco, and we're competing with processed foods and stuff like that are much easier. If you get a bunch of beets from your local farmer, you have to do a little bit of work, but it reaps its rewards. But it is some work to cook from scratch, as you know. And then the second challenge is the seasonal nature of the work. So in my first season, I hired somebody, and then I lost them in the off season. In my second season, I hired a team, and I lost them in the off season. So I've been really lucky that I've got the team that I have now, who's come back and been a part of this longer term. And so yeah, that's definitely been a challenge. Is just keeping staff over time as well.
yeah, I mean, I can only imagine the challenges. And I mean, from my experiences, I think it's incredibly important to have a connection with our local farmers. But if you had a message, what could we do to help better support our local farmers?
Oh, geez. I mean, just go to farmers market for one. I think people's perception of the farmers market is that it's more expensive than the grocery store. But if you consider the fact, like the science is really improving year over year, and they're showing that they can measure nutrient density across these crops. So if you get a bunch of carrots from a farmer who's just harvested them yesterday, they'll have 5 times the vitamin E than your typical bunch of carrots that are in the grocery store. So even though you can get more calories per dollar from Costco I can do circles around them and nutrients per dollar. So I think that you'll find that there's a lot of value there. Plus, if you go to the farmer and you make a relationship with the farmer, you can say like, look, I want to support you, but I don't have a ton of money. Is there something that you have that, that I could use that, I'm not going to break the bank on. We can do a deal for you too, right? Sometimes there's things we don't want to keep inventory. Like I only want to sell stuff that I harvested yesterday. So at the end of farmers market every week, we actually donate our excess to the local food bank because I don't want to hang on to it over the weekend and have it be 2-3 days old when it gets to the customer. So, we're basically trying to support the food banks and stuff like that. But you just find your local farmer, have a farmer, like I always say to people, like, I'm your farmer. Just let me know if you want me to grow something or whatever it is. Like, so I think that's a big way that you can help farmers.
Yeah, it's I think it's something we advocate a lot for here. Even, talk to your fishmonger, talk to your butcher. I think it's the best way to educate yourself about the ingredients that you're using. And for people to know, maybe they don't even know that that's a possibility is right. Go to a farmer's market, talk to a farmer, develop a relationship. I think it's going to pay dividends and help to support our farming community. So yeah, great message. And yeah, guys, go to your farmers markets. There are probably some great resources online to check out to see where some farmers markets might be in your area. But yeah.
Yeah, we're getting better at the website stuff too. So like you can Google, farmers near me and find them now too. So send me a text message. I can probably point you to your local farmer if I don't serve your area too. So we're in the mushroom grow room now, Jeremy. I wanted to show you that as well. So basically we have all these mushroom grow blocks, which are basically wood chips and soy husks that are inoculated with different strains of mushrooms. So we'll have blue oysters, we'll have black oysters. We'll have lion's mane right there. So people are familiar with that one. Now you get lion's mane tea and different things like that. We got a little bit of golden oysters that are starting, and these will grow right up to be, that big. This is, probably a day or so away from being harvested yet. So that's the mushroom. Oh, I got some chestnut here too for you to see. So those are chestnut
Amazing.
mushrooms.
So my mind is already
How do you
telling
like
me
to think of
this.
those?
Yeah, those look absolutely incredible. So then, Glenn, is that something that you can grow all year round then?
I can grow them all year round. The trick for me is, am I going to keep going all season just to deliver, $10 worth of mushrooms to someone? It's like people tell me, why don't you do eggs? Well, if I'm producing, 30 dozen eggs every week, that's fine during the season because I have all these CSA customers that will be very happy. If you can find a farmer who's doing, you know, uh, free range eggs, like for real, you should buy those eggs from the farmer because I guarantee you the farmer's losing money on them and they'll be delicious and super nutrient dense. So, but as soon as the season's over, then am I going to keep driving around just to deliver a dozen eggs to different people? It doesn't really make sense. Like it makes sense for me during the season, which is the same with the mushrooms. So far what we've done is shut off the mushroom production at the end of the season. But if I can get a staff member or somebody who wants to make like a side hustle of, finding restaurants that want mushrooms, like we have the capacity to do a lot of mushrooms and we could keep that going and bring them to local restaurants or something like that. But mushrooms are tricky, like you have a 12-hour harvest window and I want them in people's fridges, like within 24 hours of harvest at the most, when they look at the best, and then also like somebody cooking them within short order as well. But these mushrooms, like Jeremy, I should have brought you some when we met there, but I got to bring you some of these because they'll ruin you for grocery store mushrooms. Like the flavor of these mushrooms is fantastic.
Oh yeah, they look incredible. We're very excited, and I'm sure that the patients and our participants in our upcoming class on the September 18th, they're in for a treat to try some of those.
I have to show you one other thing. This is what 12,000 bulbs of garlic looks like. So that we have four different varieties of garlic, and then some pretty big ones here that you can see. And so that the harvest for those happened about like there's a jumbo, for example, give you an idea. Um, the harvest for those happened about 4 weeks ago, and they've been curing since then. And so now we're starting to sell those at farmers market and online to people who want seed garlic and things like that. So yeah, there's some big production here.
Incredible. And I mean, Ontario garlic is always in huge demand, so that's fantastic to see. Um, yeah, Glenn, I mean, this has been such a treat. Your enthusiasm and your excitement for the work that you're doing is very clearly evident. And again, hopefully people can come check you out. Cold
Yes,
Spring Organics, where we're gonna include your socials and your website in the description of the videos. But where else can people find you? You said you mentioned the Coburg Farmers Market.
that's right. Coburg Farmers Market or coldsprings.organics.com. At Cold Springs Organics is our Instagram. We try to be active there, and you can go on my website and get on my email list and get stories about the latest happenings on the farm. So yeah, those are the best places.
Amazing. So guys, connect with Glenn, get to know your local farmers. And again, thank you so much for all the work that you're doing with UHN. Really appreciate your support, and we're looking forward to trying some of your produce in person at our upcoming class.
I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait for you to see it firsthand. We're gonna bring you some mushrooms too and
Uh,
garlic, definitely.
awesome. Thanks, Glenn. We'll
All
talk
right.
soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you too. Cheers.